investigation of the account, it appeared to be the real Brian Koberger account.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Hard Truth. Thank you so much for watching. Listen, this is a really sad situation. Sad situation, and it's becoming more and more absurd, as Elton John would say. We have 4 families that lost a child in the most heinous, despicable manner, and now we have a family of one of the victims endorsing fake news for the prosecution. Now that's sad. Grab your coffee or a nice cup of tea as we begin this sad story.
From our investigation of the account, it appeared to be the real Brian Koberger account.
This is a high-profile case, okay, with millions of dollars invested in investigating, processing evidence. This is a high-profile case, and we're being told that one guy murdered 4 people in cold blood with some sharp-edged instrument. 4 people. And the best they could come up with as far as a connection is the parents' own personal scouring the internet and coming up with some account that could be Brian Koberger's. Nothing forensic from professionals. And the reason they're saying Maddie and Kaylee were linked to the Instagram is because this family, the G's, are the only ones speaking on this and out here supporting or rejecting the evidence. And so it had to be Maddie and Kaylee Instagram connection, because you don't hear from the Mogans or the Chapins or the Canodals. You don't hear from them making claims about the case or supporting or rejecting anything. Only the G's. And so the connection had to be Maddie and Kaylee, because these are the G's, the only ones speaking on it. So why? And another thing, look how late this is coming out in response to Ann Taylor saying there's no connection. Ann Taylor said that way back in May, June. It went unchallenged for months, and now all of a sudden they're digging this out. I mean, it's so inadequate, so amateurish, so clearly untrue. I mean, so fabricated. It's just sad. It's just sad that we don't have anything better than this to influence us about this case. It's really sad. And this is 48 hours. This is mainstream media. I'm just amazed, and I'm very, very disappointed that this is continuing to go on, because in a house full of blood with 4 victims and all the time that passed until the police came to the scene, the only connection you have between your suspect and anybody in this house, not just the Idaho 4, they can't even give us a connection between Brian Koberger and Dylan and Bethany. They can't give us a connection. This is, to me, this whole interview is weak. It's desperate. But somebody will go around and say, oh, there is a connection. I have 50 people in the chats arguing with me that there is now a connection because of this interview. There has absolutely no evidence supporting it whatsoever. And she's very careful to use the words seems, appears to be, and based on me and my husband's investigation, not the FBI, not MPD, not anybody, just them. And even then, she can't verify that this was Brian Koberger's account. She says it appeared to be. She covering herself, from a lawsuit. But these lawsuits might come anyway if this continues, because it's really sad.
They just told us the name, and we immediately started Googling.
They believed they had found a possible connection through Instagram and immediately took these screenshots.
Okay, going back to December 30th, the G's were saying they did not know Brian, but they saw connections between him and Kaylee. They said nothing about Maddie. They were saying they see a connection between, they told the news station they saw connections between Kaylee and Brian Koberger, but they weren't ready to discuss them yet. They said nothing about Maddie Mogen. And so now all of a sudden it's Kaylee and Maddie. And we haven't heard a peep out of Maddie's parents concerning this.
That the attorney representing the family of Kaylee Gonsalves says they haven't found any connection. They don't believe that Kaylee knew Brian Kohberger at all. And they say they've turned any information they have over to the Moscow Police Department.
Now, this came out on January the 11th, like going on 2 weeks after Brian's arrest. For some reason, they jumped out and told the truth. Because here they're saying, we don't know this guy. We've looked and he's not popping up. And so we've turned everything over to the state. And so if they found connections between Kaylee and Maddie and Brian Kohberger, they should have, the state should have it. And so when Ann Taylor said there's no connection, they should have been able to bring out whatever the G's turned over to the state and say, well, they found a connection. We didn't hear that. And even now, listening to them on 48 Hours, you notice that they did not drag MPD or FBI into it at all. They're not saying that the cops are endorsing this, what they're saying. They're saying this on their own. They're not saying this is a part of the evidence for the investigation, because it's not. This broadcast came out on June the 26th, which was like almost July of this year, where Ann Taylor clearly stated that there was no connection between Brian Kohberger and any of the victims, the Idaho 4 victims. Now, this was after the December 30th claim that they had, that the G's had, they saw some connection. This was after they supposedly turned over the evidence to the state. This was after all the accusations about IDs in the car and all that. This was June the 26th. And so now we're just now hearing in September a rebuttal to Ann Taylor's claim. And it's not even by MPD or the FBI. It's by who? The G family. It's unofficial, off the record, and it's lame. 100% lame. Okay? Now, what do you think about this one?